So our project is not that big as European, of course, but we have found out that with a new cataloging policy, we can do many things. So let's see what we have achieved. So we think that it is common sense that cataloging policies and cataloging practices have an impact on the interoperability of the data. So the big question is how to make the data that we already have to be linked data ready. And as we were exploring this idea of linked data readiness, we found out that we already have some tools. So we've got the principles, the international cataloging principles. We've got a linked data compliant model, the library reference model. We've got the rules. We've got the RDA, which provides us vocabularies. It also provides us mappings from Mark 21 from legacy format to RDF. We already have in our community linked data practices. I want to remind you the Linky Marc approach, so the use of URIs in Mark 21. So actually what we don't have is library systems that use RDF. So the current format is still the legacy one, the Mark 21. Despite this, of course, we want to migrate to RDF, but since we don't have the systems, we thought that this is the suite of models and standards that we will use. This decision was taken in 2022 in the National Library of Greece, because earlier we used Unimarc and the Anglo-American cataloging rules. So in order to proceed with this decision, we decided that we had to make some changes, first of all, to our mindset, policies, workflows, systems, and of course, the data itself. So since we are a very small team, the cataloging department has almost 10, 12 people. We couldn't change everything overnight. So we took a pragmatic approach. So we choose an RDA entity, we study, we provide guidelines in Greek, we create an application profile, then we implement this profile in our library system, then catalogers do their magic, and on a bi-weekly basis, we do a quality check, and also we enrich the data. And after we finish, when we are feeling that, okay, the data is at a good level, we export them, we transform them, and we transform them to RDA RDF, and we have a Wikibase instance for that. We will present it later. A big change, a big mindset change has been that now more than one people make that a record. So this is a bibliographic record. So you can see, I will not analyze this, but some pieces of information are given to us by the acquisition department. Some are provided during a pre-cataloging process. And of course, all these are verified by the catalogers. This is an authority record. Of course, you can see that more information is, the majority of the information is added by the catalogers. And of course, this is only natural because authority control is an intellectual process. The intellectual process does not change. With linked data, we just change the representation of that information. One big thing that we have added to our records is, and also to the system, we use an open source system, Koha. We have created a plugin and a mechanism to create identifiers. So these identifiers are used in all records that are linked to authority records. And this has been a major enabler towards linked data. So our experience shows that we can go further even when we take baby steps. So these baby steps are actually a small set of subfields and fields that we now use in our records. We use the $0, the subfield 0, so we have an identifier, and all fields in authority records and bibliographic records that are linked, so they have this $0. So we are using a non-system bound identifier in our data. And whatever we do, so when we convert to RDA RDF, the relationships are instantiated using identifiers and not string matching. So this was also important. When we use vocabularies or relationships, we provide the semantics of a value of a relationship using the $1, the subfield 1, or the subfield 4. So this gives us the freedom to use whatever we want for the Greek label. So we serve the human users that speak Greek, but international users, even regardless if they are humans or machines, they can find out about the semantics using the URI. Regarding relationships, we decided not to use the labels, the Greek labels that are in the RDA registry, because we thought that this is an opportunity to train our catalogers to understand RDF triples, so domain and range. So here what you see as underlined means person, and this one and this part after the dot means related person. So in order for them to understand the domain and the range of their relationship. We have started also using the $7 because, and we use it for transliteration and for English translations. We decided to use transliteration in all of our records describing names, so people, places, works, etc. Because we have found out when we were sending our data to VIAF, for example, we observed that they were clustered properly. So we decided to put this in all of our records. Of course, we have not managed to do that because we take it step by step, but that is the goal. And for subjects, which are non-RDA entity, we provide the preferred 10 from the Library of Congress subject headings. These are fields that we have started using after 2022. We use identifiers in order to find respective descriptions of the same real-world objects in other data sets, structure format of dates, and a major enabler for the transformation process has been the 075. Imagine that now in an authority record that has as a basic field the 100, you can create descriptions in Mark 21 for different types of RDA entities, for a person, for a nomen, if it has subfield T for a work, if it has subfield L for an expression. If it has one of the VXYZ subfields, then a concept, we go outside the RDA ontology. So instead of asking of the algorithm to try to find out, we explicitly state what type of entity we describe using the 075. As I have already said, when we use vocabularies, we use the URI in subfield 1 and a Greek label in subfield A. Similarly, for relationships, catalogers, we intentionally misuse $3, so we don't want to add more work to the catalogers. Intellectual work is hard enough. So they select the proper relationship using a list, and on the biweekly quality check that the system librarians do, we check if the proper relationship has been selected, and if so, then we enrich with the proper label and the proper URI in $4. So it is important to say that this relationship, as you can see in the example, is instantiated using also identifiers because the subfield 0 is also included in the relationship. We wanted to showcase to our catalogers that, okay, you put more information. We know that this information cannot be shown properly in the catalog. So as a proof of concept for linked data, we created a Wikibase prototype. The first iteration was focused on the RDA person entity. Now the next one that will be published next month on person and nomen entities. And in 2025, we are seeking to upload works and expressions and SCOS concept. Of course, Lazaros is going to make a presentation, a small presentation of the Wikibase. But if you would like more information, there is a related article in the Journal of Library Metadata. So, Lazaros, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Sofia. So, good evening. I'm Lazaros from Open Knowledge Greece. I do also cooperate with Aristotle University, but here I'm representing Open Knowledge Foundation Greece, where we advocate for open data and transparency. So back in 2020, when we started the project with the National Library of Greece, we had a generic requirement to let catalogers collaborate on authority records and be able to export the authority records for the semantic web. So we had some experience with MediaWiki, and that's why we selected Wikibase. Also, Wikidata had already been battle tested by then. At that point, NLG was finishing their transition from Unimarc to Marc 21. So we tried presenting initially actual Unimarc feeds and Marc 21 subfeeds and feeds in Wikibase, and it was not intuitive. But then we did the same with at that time NLG has chosen the RDA route. So it was obvious that there should be a way to map RDA RDF to the Wikibase ontology. So the first step was to load the RDA ontology to a MediaWiki instance. The MediaWiki, the ontologies, the RDA ontology is hierarchical, which we should respect. And the main concept in the Wikibase ontology is the statement. We can use properties to create statements for an item and also attach qualifiers to provide details on a statement. So we loaded the parent RDA properties and the data type properties of RDA as properties with string values, and the RDA object properties were loaded as item properties, which means that you can link the items to other items. We also specialized some of the RDA properties when we map them in the Wikibase properties, so that they can hold EDF dates or URIs instead of strings. We also created custom properties to annotate semantics of some of the conversions from Marc 21 and be able to go back to Marc 21 in the future. After the ontology was loaded, we created a custom JSON schema so that we can represent our mappings from Marc 21 to RDA. Then the whole authorities file, which I think was back then about 300,000 records, was loaded in Wikibase using those mappings. The process, of course, needs some more passes, a couple more passes to reconcile missing relationships. There we used another tool, Matchmaker, that appends VIAF, ISNI, and Wikidata identifiers to our Wikibase entities. And those entities were now in Wikibase and were editable by catalogers. So currently we have those entities in the Wikibase triple store, and we can periodically go from Wikibase ontology entities to the actual RDA RDF entities and dump them into the triple store with a public facing Sparkle endpoint. So at the same endpoint is finally used by our RDA RDF browser that the users are supposed to browse authorities with. And now, Sofia, I think you can show some aspects of the editing environment and the front end that might be of interest.
We are hoping that this Wikibase prototype at some point would serve as a central entity management infrastructure for libraries and archives in Greece. We're not there yet, but we upload our data there. It is not synchronized with our system, so we are doing exports, and we do a new transformation of data. So in each iteration, the knowledge graph is being replaced by another one. So here you can see that we somehow replicate the RDA ontology, and we are using qualifiers that have no meaning for RDF, but in case that in the future we would like to use this as a central entity management infrastructure, we may want to export as Mark 21, because we don't know when we are going to have linked data editors for bibliographic, for library data. So you can see, for example, here it is the relationship from a person to Nomens. This person has 2 pseudonyms and is related to 3 people. This is the editing environment. And now the new display that is going to be uploaded in the next month. This is the record, this is the description for the person Kazadzakis Nilikos, a well-known author of Zorba the Greek. You may know the new movie also. Here in this gray box, we take some information from Wikidata and Wikibase. We take the picture and also the signature. And all the information that we have in our records is organized in 2 columns. So the left column is information about the person himself, biographical data, activity data, other identities, variant access points, transliterations. Here we have nodes, but there were too many, so I just kept only the first line. What has been added in the second column, and it is something that current library systems cannot offer, are here the relationships. So of course we've got relationships with other people, with a corporate body, we've got the identifiers from other data sets. But what is new is that we have organized the works that this person has written under the name that this person used. So with his real identity, he has written many works, but with these 2 pseudonyms, he's written only 1 work per pseudonym. So this display is a new one. It combines the RDA person, the RDA Nomen entity, and also RDA works. Supposing that this person has translated some works under his name or his pseudonym, again, we would have another heading that would say expressions, and using the same structure, the name that he used for its expression. So this is a new display that current library systems cannot support. So with linked data, we can do that. So the core decisions that we have taken, more than 1 person may touch a record. All information needed is in the records themselves. We decided that we don't want to make any pre-processing. We want our data to be linked data ready. In Wikibase, we use qualifiers. These have no meaning for RDF, but in case we want to export Mark 21, they can become handy. We are interested that our data, okay, it is published, but we want them to be used. So we decided that we don't create any local classes or properties. We will use only RDF, nothing new. So if a developer wants to query our knowledge graph, he or she will not have to study anything, any documentation, as long as he or she knows RDR. So the next steps is, of course, to migrate away from Mark 21, but till that happens, we are going to create linked data ready data. We would like that this Wikibase prototype serve as a central entity management infrastructure that will also export Mark 21 records. Of course, the main goal is to fully map all our authority and bibliographic records to RDA RDF, but since we are taking it entity by entity, this will take time. And we are hoping to do that not just linked data, for just using a new technology, but because we know that we can create new displays and we can support new users of our data. And of course, we have also in mind not just the human users, but also the machine users alike, so serve both. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, you two. There was one popular comment in the forum talking about that there was finally a first Marc record at this year's WIP. So thank you for showing us Marc again. And then we had another question. Confused about which Marc comes from where to where. Sofia is showing what must be Unimarc bibliographic. But it gets translated to Marc 21 at some point, or is it just the authorities?
No, we used to have Unimarc, but in 2022 we decided to make a transition to Marc 21. So all our authority records and bibliographic records are in Marc 21. But in Marc 21 we are using the subfields and the fields that we have shown, in order to make the transformation from Marc 21 to RDF easier.
Thank you. We also have another comment here. Very interesting, Sofia and Lazaros. Great to see that it is possible to represent all data required for RDF inside a Marc 21 Marc.
Yes, this is why we have started the presentation saying that cataloging policies have an impact on the interoperability of the data. So, of course, we are not where we want to be. We are moving towards a goal, but we would like to show to libraries that even with simple changes in their Marc records, they can help transformation processes. So this is really important to us. And another thing is that we never used the original RDA. We did a leap of faith, let's say, from Marc 21 from Anglo-American cataloging rules to the official RDA. So this is also of interest to colleagues worldwide because the libraries that have not gone to the original RDA are a little bit afraid to do that. We tell them, don't be afraid. You know more than you believe.
Thank you for this motivation. I totally agree. Also, there is also other comments saying that your work is really exciting. So
thank you very much.
Yeah, I also really like this very pragmatic approach, but also really always starting training your co-workers and really just get into it. And even though you're not there yet, but this looks really promising this way with the Wikibase. So
yes, really imagine that we have a cataloger that she will leave on retirement next year, and actually she's our spokesperson in the team for linked data because she understands the added value. She understands that all this intellectual work that they are doing for all these years, we can represent it in a structured way, and using this structured data, we can offer better services.
Yeah, thank you. For now, I don't see any other questions.
If there are, we can answer in the forum. No.
Yeah, definitely. You can answer in the forum. I see still someone typing, but let's see what happens. But then I would say I conclude this second session for SWIP for today. There is still a workshop slot after now the session. The workshop slot for the Americas. There's for once the Fail for Lip, a very interesting workshop, I think, to really talks about or failures as well, which I guess is really, really interesting. And then we also have the second workshop, Publish and Reconcile Against SCOS Vocabularies with GoHub. We've seen SCOHub a bit before in Adrian's and Manuel's talk, so if you're interested in learning more about SCOHub, you should definitely check it out, depending on your time zone. Yeah, and if your time zone doesn't allow to join in these workshops, we are happy to see you tomorrow and on Wednesday again for the other SWIP sessions. So thank you so much for today, and see you tomorrow latest. Oh, yeah.
Priorities to the IFLA Marc, yes. We have already sent a new data set this September, but because now with the new data, they have to do much reclustering, let's say. They have downloaded the NLG data and they have not uploaded the new one. So we have a new version really soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Sofia. I didn't see that one. Very
no,
good.
Don't worry. Have a nice afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, you too.
Bye.